Welcome to Wake Up Happy Sis, the show that jumpstarts your day with a bang. We're strolling down these self-care streets as we navigate the maze of wellness and healing. We're helping you live happy, healed, and whole. And we do it all with a hearty dose of belly laughs for good measure. Stay tuned and get ready to wake up happy, sis. Welcome, everybody. And of course, as we would have it, my Facebook connections are, I don't know why Facebook is always the one hating on me every morning. Every morning now, they're like hating on us. And I don't know why. It does not want to get its life together. But so y'all give me a hot girl minute so I can put these back in, because what we're not doing is that today. This is what we're not doing today. Not today. So we're going to try it again. Okay. Now maybe I can go ahead and do my little welcome here. Look, it every time it's in Facebook every time. All right. Hey, Booze. Hey, welcome. This is your favorite Morning Five, the Wake Up Happy Sis show on KCCR Cityscape Radio, where we're changing the narrative for our people because we're telling our stories our way. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, your Chief Self-Love Officer over here at Wake Up Happy Sis. And today's episode is a really special one because I have the pleasure of having my good friend Valerie on here. And yes, we are real friends in real life, not just friends, as we are celebrating Women's History Month. So my goal this month is to highlight and showcase just some women that I feel are phenomenal and who are connected to me. So me and Valerie, we're just going to kick the shit today. Talk about her business. We're going to talk about art. We're going to talk about wellness. We're just going to get into a whole bunch of topics. So if you want to ask Valerie a question, you want to come on, it is always a pop-in show. So let me get my drop-in ticker down there. You can join the show and hop in and say hi, but keep it respectful. Because if you go low, I will go to hell. Don't start none, won't be none. So, Valerie is the founder of Alana Minerals. She offers all natural and vegan makeup for people of color. Okay. And when I do wear makeup, that is what I wear, just so y'all know. Okay. And she is also a sociology professor, an artist, and a hypnotist. So, I want y'all to welcome my friend Valerie to the stage. Grab your cup of joy, whatever's in it. I'm not here to judge you, okay? And let's get ready to be inspired. We're going to have some laughs. I don't think we're talking about anything that's going to make us shed a tear or two, but you never know. You never go, right? But we're just here to help you wake up happy, sis. So, hey, Valerie.
Thank you for that introduction. You make me sound so accomplished.
You know what? Even play with me like I had look what y'all don't get is I got some awesome ass friends. Okay, my friends, I don't just have little run-of-the-mill, little lackluster, little lukewarm type friends. Okay, I have good, high value, high quality friends. Okay, you are the company you keep. So my friends got to be on a certain level or it's just not gonna work. It's just not gonna work.
Love it. Thank you.
So, you're welcome.
Thank you.
So
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I started my makeup business back in 2007. I started putting things together in 2006 and launched in 2007. And I launched the business because I was in need of such a product, right? I had gone through an illness and I was trying to cover some scarring on my face that had resulted from the illness. And I could not find really anything that matched my skin tone. And then when I did find something that matched my skin, it made me break out. Mm-hmm. And it was really like heavy and cakey. And so I had been complaining about it. And my dad said, he heard me complaining about it. And he said, "Are you going to keep complaining? Or are you going to do something?" So I
Mm.
was
Yes, Dad. Because we
like,
don't, we're
okay,
not just
that's
part of the problem, we're part of the solution.
exactly. So I thought, well, hmm, if Mary Kay could start a business selling makeup, I guess I could.
Look, look, look. And for those, like, I don't wear a lot of makeup, but what I do
Mhm,
know is that when I would go in the store and try to find something that looked like me, it's not just a surface level thing. Because just because it looks like, what I learned, this is so, I also work with Valerie. I do her website and all of that. And so what I learned kind of on my journey of doing this with her is the undertones that we have in our skin, right? Are you a yellow? Are you a red? And I never realized, because sometimes you'll get something that looks like it's your color, but then I feel like it's making me feel too ashy,
mhm.
right? Or so maybe that means I have a red undertone instead of a yellow. I don't know about all those parts, but I was like, I know when I go to the store, it's very hard to find a color that matches my skin.
Yeah.
Because especially when you're going brown to darker, they don't really care about us out in those. They didn't generally care about us out in those streets before.
Yeah, and the solution was, with those products that don't match, the solution was always, well, you have to blend it down into your neck, right? So you put on the makeup that doesn't match, and then you have this line. So then they would say, well, you didn't put it on right. You have to blend it down into here. And it's like, no, that's not the problem. The problem is it doesn't match.
Right. The problem is, and no disrespect to Lil Kim, but I don't want to be looking like Lil Kim with dark hands and a light ass face. Like, that's not my goal. I want, and I don't, and what I didn't like about traditional makeups were they were very heavy and
Hmm.
cakey. And I don't want to look made up.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I just want to
Yeah.
look dewy, morning glowy. Now I do want fabulous eyes. I want fabulous eyes, but I want the rest of my face to just look more natural, like, okay, this is my skin.
Yeah, and sometimes, we do want something that covers as well. It just doesn't necessarily need to be super heavy, because
Yes.
we have hyperpigmentation. A lot of us deal with hyperpigmentation. And so rather than using fade creams or other products that are going to cause more damage, maybe you just need something that can cover those spots to make you feel more comfortable when you're out and about in the world. So,
Definitely.
yeah, so I created that. And then the other thing I discovered along the way was that the other type of accessory colors like eyeshadows and blush and lipstick and lip gloss, that those weren't really formulated for people with deeper brown skin tones in mind either, because they never really have enough pigmentation
Hmm.
to show up well on deep brown skin. And so I think since then, though, there's a lot has changed in the market, and there are more companies putting out more vibrant colors, deeper, rich colors that you don't have to use half of the package before the color starts to
Or
show
the
up.
color shows up. Yeah, but there wasn't a lot back then. There wasn't a lot
No,
to
there
choose
was.
from. And so you are one of the first that really that I saw that really thought about darker skin tones and how things show up on
Mhm.
darker skin tones, right? And
Yeah.
using, really great pigmented colors. you know.
Mhm.
So that's one of the things that I do love about Valana Minerals. And so before there was a Fenty, before there was some of these other, you know, companies, there was Valana Minerals.
Well,
Period.
I also still to even to this day, I'm I'm the only all natural and vegan company doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So there are and I'm really happy to see more companies come on board, to give
Yeah.
people options. But in terms of all natural and vegan, there's nobody else that's doing this.
Look, one of one,
Yeah.
one of one. And hopefully, like I said, and hopefully more people will come and enter this and realize, hey, there
Mhm.
is a market here for people who want quality products without all of the excess. Because you can have quality products without all of that excess,
We
without the
deserve
things
it.
that are damaging us. Well, that's why when I created Dolce
Mhm.
and Lay was
Mhm.
because I was tired of all the excess stuff that was in our products. I was like, it has
Yeah.
to be an easier way. And and let me say this because I think people sometimes have a misconception of product labels. Just because you cannot pronounce it does not mean it's a bad product. And people like, if I can't pronounce it, they're using inky terms. They're using very
Yeah.
technical terms. So you may not be able to, because some of the things you can pronounce, like arsenic, are not good for you, right? So
That's
I'm just
so
saying,
true.
because just because, right, so don't fall into that, right? You can still have natural, organic, vegan, and those some of those names be harder to pronounce.
Yeah. I think a
So
lot of that comes down to education too. I think some folks, obviously there's some folks who don't really care. As long as it looks good and it makes them feel good, they're not
uh-oh.
interested in what's in it, right? But there's a good proportion of the population who is interested, but they don't necessarily have the education
Mm-hmm.
about ingredients. Like, who does that? It's not your job to learn the difference between FD&C dye and iron oxide and cobalt, and who is interested in that. So I really think it's important to make some of those things understandable,
Yeah.
because I've I've seen and I've heard of instances where people really get injured because of cosmetics, right? And so some of
Yeah.
the things that people are doing to themselves is really dangerous. But they don't know it because you presume, if it's on the shelf, it's fine, which in most instances it is, but sometimes people use the products incorrectly, right?
Yes.
And
Now
yeah, and so like over the years, I've seen companies that make eyeshadows using dyes and colorants that aren't intended for eyeshadow, that are only supposed to be used in soap.
mm-hmm.
Well, that can lead to loss of vision. That can lead to damage of the mucous membrane in the eyes and all of that. But they say my customers wanted bright colors, and this is the only way to get those bright colors. It's like, oh gosh, but that's dangerous. So I think that education about these things is really important.
I would
And
agree.
yeah, for some people, that's what it takes, is an injury, unfortunately, to start to learn, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, but I
Well,
think that's
Valerie also has
important.
a book though. So, and for those of you who are not aware, Valerie also has a book. It was called That's the Nature of Beauty, to help people kind of understand a little bit more about these ingredients that are in our products, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's important to bring it down to a level that it's understandable for everybody else, right?
Hmm.
And those who have that interest that want to know a little bit more that are in there what's in their products. So when they're looking at the labels, they're understanding what they're seeing. You know, I think that's helpful. But it's good to know that there are companies who actually think about that, right? That think about the types of ingredients that are going into their products, and they practice the right safety hazards. I remember watching people and just looking at how they use certain products, like flowers, putting undried flowers in ingredients. And I was like, you do know there's still moisture in those ingredients, and you don't
Yep.
have any kind of protection in there. You're going to have mold that you can't see, and somebody's going to get sick and somebody's going to get hurt. And so I'm like, you
Yep.
have to make sure that the companies that you are working with, that the companies you're buying products from actually know what they're doing and that you can trust them. So, you know, if you have ones, then, you know, we used to do videos showing people how we make our products and things like that.
Mhm.
You can be trusted and aware that, you know, what we say is in there, and we've got your best interests at heart. And so for me, how do you balance, you know, all the demands of running multiple businesses, being a professor, being married, you know, how do you balance all those things so that you're not running around here pulling all your hair out because you're so stressed?
Sometimes I do a really good job at it. Sometimes I do a crappy job at it and I don't balance anything and everything falls apart and my hair falls out and then I go see my therapist.
Look, therapy,
You know?
counseling, all those things are so helpful. And I
Yeah.
think what I love that nowadays we're not so pressed about therapy anymore, right? That it's
Yeah. I
becoming
love
more
that.
of a standard, and more people are just open to getting the help that they need. And I think that to me is one of the best things.
I
So
got my first therapist when I was, I think, 23.
I think I was still working at AT&T. So I was
Hmm.
in my 30s, maybe
Yeah.
early 30s when I first went to therapy.
Hmm.
And it was just because they had these free, we get like 6 free sessions. And I was like, hey, let me go check it out and see,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
And because sometimes we think we've healed from a lot of things, and really all we did was we tucked it away somewhere.
Yeah.
We tucked it away and we threw away that key. I'm not going to open that box no more. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm healed. I'm this and I'm that. And you're not. You're
Yeah.
now just locked and you're guarded and you're blocked and I want to live my most fulfilling life. And I can't do that if I'm holding on to all of this baggage, to things that people have left me with and things
Yeah.
that I may have left myself with,
Oh, truth.
you
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
and stop letting other people's ideas of what my life should look like, how I should be, engage engage my core to the fact that I'm not living my true life. Yeah,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah. There's always a lot of input because, I sometimes I share my ideas when I decide,
Mhm.
okay, I'm going to do this new thing or I'm going to try this. I'll share it with others. And people offer advice and feedback and their opinions. And what I found is sometimes I get defensive. And sometimes when people offer their opinions, my first response is to become defensive and be like, well, you don't know what I'm trying to do,
Mhm.
right? Or you don't understand. And I don't always say that, like that's what's going on in my head. Um, and what I've found over the years is when people make those comments, they're usually there's no malintent. Like they're trying in their minds, they're trying to be helpful.
Yeah, they think, yeah.
And so I've started to listen to some of it to try to better understand where they're coming from because maybe my future customers might have some of those same thoughts.
Mm. And
And
that's
so then it's like, okay, well, if there are possibly future customers who are going to be thinking those same things, then maybe that's something I need to address in the structure of my business to answer that question before it actually forms as a question, right?
when I think that's important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're not listening to that voice of the customer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because a lot of times what I've seen is we make products that we like and that we hope somebody's going to buy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Most of the people I know who started companies, it started out of our own need, obviously. And then you've shared it with a couple of friends, and people are like, oh, you should, right? But we don't go back and post check. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
launch. And one of my mentors, Lamar Tyler, is always talking about launch, analyze, optimize. And I
Mm-hmm.
think sometimes we get stuck because we forget that analyze and optimize. So I love that you kind of take that and take input from a lot of places and be like, okay, now how can I improve what I'm doing so that
Mm-hmm.
my messaging may be clearer to the customers if they have these questions? It may just be an FAQ because, hey, I keep hearing this question a lot. So
Right.
maybe I need to change somewhere so that this thing is more apparent,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Got it.
Or even, huh, if enough people are saying something, you have to listen and
Mm-hmm.
see how can you address it. And it doesn't always mean that everything that happens, oh my God, I'm drastically changing my company every week because of what somebody said.
No. Yeah.
Definitely.
No, nothing like that. But yeah, it might mean. I know when I started Valana, I had a couple of people say, because remember, this was in 2007, right? Or end of 2006, beginning of 2007, who say, you can't sell makeup online. Nobody's going to buy makeup online. When
Mm-hmm.
you, and so, my first reaction was, what? You don't know what you're talking about. You're behind the times, that kind of thing. But then when I got through with that reaction, I thought, okay, yeah, there's going to be people probably who think that. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of reacting, my question was, okay, tell me why you believe that.
Yes.
And they basically said because they're accustomed to going to a store, seeing the makeup, feeling the makeup, testing it on their skin. So I thought, that's perfect. So I came up with the sampling program
Mm-hmm.
where you could buy a sample kit with sample colors, brushes, and try it out at home. And for women of color, that would actually be a benefit, because how many times have you gone to a store and had the makeup artist in the store do your makeup and you look like a ridiculous clown, but they're telling you you look fabulous, but you can't see it because you're
Right.
not actually looking at it. And then they, do the big reveal, but now you're in public looking like a freak
Yeah.
because they don't know how to do makeup for us, or they don't actually have the colors to match,
Right.
and
So
they
they're
don't have the
the
courage. Yeah,
they're
and they
giving you
don't have the courage to tell you that they don't know what they're doing. So, in order to avoid all of that trauma, here's a kit. You try it at home.
no, and I love that because as people are doing more and more of their shopping online, it
Mhm.
takes, yes, Shamir Young will get you right with the makeup, uh, with all that.
Uh-huh.
Good morning, Kareed. And that brings up a good point, right? Because you go, you get your makeup done, they sell you all this stuff, so now you've spent $100 and something on makeup that you don't know how to put on. They done probably blended some stuff down to get that color shade. And they've given you all this stuff. You get home and now it doesn't look right on me. So I love having the tester program because now I can get, let's say, a couple of different shades so I can find the one, because my winter shade and my summer shade's going to be different. Because in the summer, all this melanin is extra popping, delicious, goldy chocolate. Okay. Then when we get north to winter, I'm more this color, this lighter shade of brown. And so now I can have different things to even blend those two together when I'm in an in-between stage. And I like it because they would come in the little shaker, and you're not even using a whole bunch of makeup, of product to have to put it on, and you get really good coverage. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not a big makeup person, but I will, I will get my little makeup done every now and then when I'm, when I got to go somewhere and be extra cute. And I'm bringing my makeup stuff. I don't want them using whatever they're using on me. These are my colors. These are my colors. Work with this.
Yeah, I think that's one of the key takeaways about that memory for me, is that tester program for my business has been very successful. But it came out of a criticism, right? It came out of people telling me what I couldn't do with my business. And so I think that a lot of times we can make use of those criticisms in a way that ends up being profitable.
Yeah, turn it into an opportunity.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to, the criticisms don't always have to lead to arguments or, disdain or anything like that. It could be like, okay, thank you for that. I know something I can do with this information. It's just more information.
And I think a lot of people, like you said, your first mind is to be defensive, because this is your baby. This is your business. Your business is like your baby, right? We're fiercely protective. When you feel like somebody's saying your baby may not be cute, hold up a minute, right? But I agree, it is how you take in that information, right? So if instead we looked at it like, okay, how do I take this potential negative and turn it into a positive for my business? And that's to me, is a better approach to handling conflict and problems in life in general. Okay, how can I take the negative in what they're saying and turn it into an opportunity, a growth opportunity for myself?
Yep.
Right?
Exactly.
That's what we have to do. And I think when you have a growth mindset, when you move out of survival mode into a mode and a part of your life where you feel like you're truly thriving, you're able to look at those situations differently, right? It's not going to hit your mental the same way. I don't have to be so, what do you call it? I don't have to jump and be upset about every comment that seems negative. Like most recently, I was having little friend conflict where a friend was mad about something, maybe a little jealous of your girl, but was essentially trying to, like, people throw shade. I didn't know the shade was being directed at me until somebody else mentioned it. And I was like, because I was like, I wasn't even listening. I couldn't, once you start talking negative or whatever,
it wasn't for you. It wasn't for you.
And because I was like, I know there's no reason for this person to be trying to throw shade at me.
Right.
And I was like, that's interesting. But the place I am in my life, negatives don't hit me the way that they used to hit me. right?
Mhm.
I can talk to you and have a whole grown conversation about it. Now,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that, and I can forgive a lot of
Mhm.
things. It doesn't mean that you still get the same level of access to me just because I said I forgive you. And I think
Yeah.
that once you get that growth, you know how to take a negative and say, okay, let me find the beauty in this.
Mhm.
Let me find my opportunity within this negative. Because there's always opportunities. It's about how you frame it.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's how I see it. So we're going to
Yeah.
do a little bit of station identification. And then when we come back, we're going to talk to Valerie about some of her artsy endeavors. Because like I said, my friend's a whole artist over here. And we're just going to talk a little bit about her artsy endeavors because that's what we do. That's what we're here to do. So you're tuned in to the Wake Up Happy Sis show on KCCR Cityscape Radio, where we're changing the narrative for our Black people because we're telling our stories our way. But are you listening? So I'll be right back after this brief commercial. Hey, sis. Ever feel like you're on the verge of a meltdown? Are you overwhelmed from juggling your job, your family, and trying to fit in me time, but seriously dropping the ball on that last one? Guess what? You're not alone. Introducing the Burnout Recovery Kit. It's your 14-day lifeline to go from burnt out to lit up. Get ready to reclaim your joy, energy, and that I got this attitude. Grab your free ebook, a purpose-driven workbook, daily email prompts, as well as SMS boosters and Q&A sessions. It's like a spa day for your soul, and guess what? It's totally free. Don't waste another minute feeling drained. Go to officialburnoutrecoverykit.com right now and kickstart your transformation. The Burnout Recovery Kit, because you deserve to be at the top of your own to-do list. Don't just cope. Thrive, sis. You hear that? Like, I got my own theme song, guys.
I love it.
That's my own thing. That music, you will not hear that music anywhere else. That little
Love
undercurrent.
that.
Because if I do, I'm suing somebody. I mean my money. I'll be just like was it UMG? They coming after everybody if you using they're using their songs. They like, run me my coins.
Oh, that's good. Congratulations. I didn't know that.
That was from Natural Roots days. That's from Natural Roots days.
Was it?
Yes, there's an actual song. There's an actual full song that
Uh-huh.
goes with that beat. So one of my friends,
Nice.
I've done a lot of things in my life. One of my
Mhm.
friends, the singer, had a band, and I was managing him, trying to help,
Okay.
trying to help him organize and structure and get things set up. And
Yeah.
so we were at his house just fucking around, and he made up this little song, and I was like, that's hot. Okay. He had put a basic beat to it, but
Uh-huh.
then he went, so the drummer for the group Lakeside, um, his son produces music. So his son
Okay.
produces music. And then so there's an actual full Natural Roots song.
I love it. I did not know that.
One day I'm gonna play it on the show because
Okay.
it's a dope song. It's a dope little song because it's all about celebrating our natural hair.
Yeah. I
So
love that.
I'm gonna put it out there. So
Nice.
as we're talking artsy type stuff, um, so tell us about Valerie the artist.
I
Because I know you do pottery, we do the painting, you're out there gardening with all the beautiful flowers in Hawaii and all that. Like tell me what's your favorite form of artistic self-expression?
wow. Favorite. I do love pottery. I love carving. I love working with clay, but I really do love painting too, but I got away from painting for a while. Um I think I've always been artistic in a sense. I used to enter and win art contests when I was a kid in elementary school. I even got in trouble for some of my art. It
What?
was
Well, I was like, what kind of art was you doing, pal?
I was in elementary school. I think it was like third grade or something like that. And the teacher for the art project, we were supposed to carve soap.
Mm.
And so every student was supposed to have, bring to class 1 or 2 bars of ivory soap.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were supposed to carve something out of the soap. So, and then she told us we could take it home to finish
Okay.
it and bring it back the next day. Because, obviously there's not enough time in class to do
Right.
that. So we started the project and I carved a rabbit out of 1 bar and an elephant out of the other bar. And I brought them back the next day. And they were going to have like a little contest in class to see who got the best.
Okay.
And the students said mine were the best and they wanted me to win. And the teacher accused me of cheating.
First of all,
She
that's
said, your mother must have carved this. And I said, my mom doesn't know how to carve anything.
right. That is not her. That is not her lane.
Yeah. And then they were like, well, how does yours stands up? Like, because, I carved it like
Right.
it would be carved. So, like,
Right.
you could
3D.
stand
What,
poses.
3D. What did you think I was carving?
But other kids, like when they carved the animal legs, they like carved them real skinny, so they fell over and stuff like that. So I guess she thought my work was not age appropriate. Like in hindsight, I think that's probably
Right.
what she was thinking. And then she said, well, how did you get the edges smooth? And I said, it's soap. I used water. Because the other kids, like they had sharp edges from like the carving tools, but they didn't smooth it out. I smoothed it out. Like my rabbit looked like a rabbit. My elephant head was like
Right.
curved like an elephant head.
You had quality control measures at an early age. And I
So,
guess they don't understand that some people think like that, right? There's no, I hate when they have that concept of on target for this certain level, right? Some people have gifts in different things, right?
yeah.
You had that vision to see, that need to be smoothed out because that does not look like a rabbit. Rabbits are not. So you had a vision in your mind of what a rabbit looks like, and you did what was needed to make it look like a damn rabbit. And I
Yeah.
think they think kids don't have that deductive reasoning sometimes to say, okay, this is soap. If I wet it, I can smooth it out.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
So it's not like I never saw soap before. I know what happens to it when it gets wet. So I knew what to do. To me, that wasn't a stretch. That wasn't like,
but to her, that was like to her, obviously that was a stretch.
Your mom did it. So they actually sent me to the principal's office. I was always getting sent to the principal's office for something though. So
see, that's funny because I would never see Valerie as the kid that's always in the principal's office.
Me, you know what? I was like this with Mr. Rose. I still remember his name. Mr. Rose was our principal. That's how much I got sent to the principal's office. So
and see, my grandmother was a teacher. And so she knew all the principals and all that. And so the school I went to was a community school, the school in my community. I could walk from my house. It's like 5 blocks from my house. So my grandmother knew the principal, like he'd been to our house. Like when my grandma used to throw parties, they would throw like stuff like that. So I never wanted to go to Mr. Bass. That was his name, Robert Bass. junior. Okay. I was never, you weren't, what you weren't going to see me in was his office. Because back then you could whoop kids at school. You think I was going to get whooped by him and then get another whooping when I got home? Because I'm out here embarrassing my grandmother. I grew up with my grandmother. My mom died when I was young, so I grew up with my grandmother. So you think I was gonna have that? What?
No,
I don't think I've ever in my life got sent to the office, like ever.
Oh, yeah, I was always in there. Yeah, but he understood. I didn't really like, to the teachers and the people around that saw what was happening. To them, I was getting in trouble. Mr. Rose was like, Valerie, why? What now? You know. So then I would explain the problem, and then he would like roll his eyes, and then he would tell the secretary, like, call her mom, ask her if she carved the soap. And then they called my mom. My mom's, no, I don't carve anything. Obviously, that's her work. Why would I cheat on soap? So then he's like, go back to class. I'll talk to the teacher later. So, but yeah, I used to get in trouble for fighting to protect my little brother, because my little brother didn't like to fight.
Okay.
And so people would pick on him because he had a big afro. And there was only like 4 Black students in the whole elementary school.
Oh, wow. So
if people made fun of my brother, then I would smack them. And so
and you're just so matter of fact about it. I would smack him.
I was a big sister. What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to look after my little brother, right?
You gotta protect your little brother.
I'd smack him, and then I'd go to the principal's office, and then Mr. Rose would be like, oh, what now? So then I would tell him, like, he picked on my little brother. You're not supposed to pick on my little brother. So then he's like, who picked on your little brother? So I'd give him the names, and then he'd go, okay, go back to recess. And then they would get in trouble for picking on my little brother.
Valerie said, don't start none, won't be none. I will smack the shit out you, yo. Mess with him again. Valerie but that's what we have to do. Especially because even though I'm from Seattle, and most people wouldn't understand when I say I went to a Black school. Mm-hmm. I went to Black schools. My schools were Black because, Seattle does have a Black community. I know people think there ain't no Black, and that all Black people know each other up there. There's more of us than just 6 people. But because I went to a Black school. Mm-hmm. I didn't get into predominantly white stuff until I went to University of Washington. Mm-hmm. Till college. Until then, I lived in a Black community. Now, there were white people sprinkled in our community, but they were the sprinklings, not us. Mm-hmm. So I think for me but it was still different than coming to like in Atlanta, where every person is Black, outside of just your neighborhood. Because you go outside of my neighborhood, whole different world, right?
Right. Yeah. So
that was, I think, for me, that was the help for me, because I did get to grow up and seeing Black teachers and all that. I didn't have the shell shock until I went to college, and it was predominantly white people, especially because I was in engineering.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the case when I was in the early years of my elementary education. Mm-hmm. We lived with a lot of our family was close by, and the neighborhood was predominantly Black, and a lot of Mexican people is close to the border, but the area where we lived was a Black neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And then later, after like 4th grade or something like that, I don't remember what year it was actually, we moved, and that area was predominantly white. Okay. But before that, I had, Black teachers. Yeah. I used to get in trouble with them too.
Of course. Trouble is trouble. Valerie was a little troublemaker. That's lesson 1. People don't always look like what they've been through. Valerie was a little fighting troublemaker, apparently.
I wasn't a troublemaker. I just like to talk.
She's a
I used
troublemaker.
to I literally used to get swatted for talking.
Now, see, I was a talker too. I was a
Mhm.
talker too. I was definitely a talker. And so, it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I
Smart
used to
kids,
talk. So
smart kids know how to talk. We know how to
mhm,
communicate well.
you
A
do.
little too well. Look, a little too well.
Yeah,
And I done with my homework early. So what else am I supposed to do? Sit there? No, I'm gonna talk
yeah.
to somebody.
From kindergarten, first grade, second grade, I used to get in trouble for talking. I used to get swatted for talking. I
They
used
put it on
to.
your little report card, the little progress reports that went home. Uh,
Mhm,
very smart, but talks a lot.
mhm, yeah.
Like, yeah.
But I found out that it was really a no-win situation because when I stopped talking, then people would be like, "What's wrong? You're not talking. You don't say enough." It's like, what do you people want from
Don't
me?
need to shut up. Don't need to shut up. You told me I talk too much, so now I'm just not talking.
Yeah, so I learned pretty quickly that it didn't matter what I did. Somebody was going to be pissed off about it and I was going to get in trouble for it. So I might as well just do what I want to do because I'm going to get in trouble no matter
Right.
what.
But look. Okay, so um,
So
some of it
the art continued. It continued.
it's gonna continue. Do what you want in life. That's what I tell people all the time. Do what you want. Show up authentically as yourself,
Yeah.
so that the world gets to meet you, not your representative. Right.
Yep.
So
I like
let's
that.
talk about what's the last, because I know you've had some of your stuff in an art show.
Mhm.
You've been in art shows and all of that. Tell me a little bit about kind of that art show experience, right?
That took a long time to for me to accept because over after years and years and years of producing things, people would say, that's really good, you should sell your work, or that's really good, you should show your work. And some of it I didn't believe it, like I wasn't ready to believe those comments.
Right.
Because there's a part of me that feels like you don't believe everything, you don't believe negative things that people say because you don't want to internalize that. But you don't
Right.
believe all the good stuff either. Like it's either
That's
way.
that's that's true. And I think a lot of times we don't want to admit that. We don't believe a lot of the good things that people say about us too.
Mhm. Yeah. So I would just be like, yeah, I don't know. And then I went to an art show with my dad in Oceanside, California. And it was at a local um, museum gallery. And so we were looking around at some of the art, and I was thinking, you know, my work could be here because I'm comparing it to other work.
Yeah.
Inside, that's what I'm saying. But then I would go look through my pieces and go, oh, I don't know. And it was just always questioning. And then one time, one of my neighbors in Hawaii, who is also an artist and shows his work regularly and has a gallery representation for some of his work.
Nice.
He saw my work and he said, you really should enter some of your work. And it felt different when he said it because he's been there.
Yeah. He's been there. So
So
now, yeah. So it's easier to take. It's easier
yeah,
to believe him.
right. Yeah. So I thought, okay, well, if he's saying it, maybe there's something to it. So then my husband was looking at one of the local announcements in a newspaper in Hawaii. And he said, hey, there's a art show call for artists. And it starts next month. They start taking applicants next month. And I'm like, uh-huh. He goes, you should do it.
What do you want me to do with that? Uh-huh.
So I said, okay. So I went online and set up, my artist profile with the agency. It's like a portal where you can list your work and then submit for different shows. So I did it. And they accepted one of my pieces.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, wow. Okay. Well, now I have an idea of what they won't accept, like what they're not looking for and what they are. So that was really interesting. And I had started painting again by then. So then the next one came around and there was another call for artists because now I'm on their list.
Definitely.
And so I entered some paintings and one was accepted. Surprise again. So then I did it again and 2 were accepted this time.
Oh, sucky now, see?
So now I'm like, okay, so should I branch out into more different galleries to try to figure out like what because each gallery kind of has a different showcase or the like feel. This particular gallery that had started accepting my work, they're connected with the state. So they get funding from the state and from the county.
Nice.
And they operate, it's a pretty large gallery and they have funding. And so it's different than a lot of private galleries. So I'm learning about different galleries and what they look for and the types of museums that have shows. And so I have a couple of more that I'm looking at to enter my work. But yeah, and then I have another batch of pottery coming up and hopefully I'll end up with some pieces that I can enter again.
Good. That's what it's about. And we were talking like last week, Sharon was here, and we were talking through just, artistic endeavors and a lot of it is you just have to step out and do something. Right? A lot of us think, oh, I'm not creative. Everybody has some level of creativity. Your creativity may be in a different area. It may be a non-traditional thing that people don't think is creative, right? You might be somebody who loves gardening and you have a way that you arrange your plants or that you're keeping your bushes trimmed and all the kind of stuff that people do, right? Your creativity may be around your ability to think through things. You can see things through a wider lens than other people who can only see this, right?
Yeah.
So when you think about creativity, when you think about artistic endeavor, don't limit yourself to what people tell you is traditional art. Oh, you're not a traditional artist. You don't like it, but I like it, and there might be somebody else out here who likes it because this gallery said it was good enough.
Yeah.
So
even the staff at the gallery, the last time I went to pick up some of my paintings, the staff at the gallery commented, they're like, oh, this is yours? And yeah. Oh, this is really unique and you definitely have a voice. And yeah, so that's happened a couple of times too, where, I've talked to the staff um, either before the show, like when I'm delivering the work, or when I go to pick it up, and the staff is commenting about how much they like it and what a good addition to the show it's going to be. And
Mm.
that means something different too, because they see,
They see a
thousands of
lot of
pieces,
stuff, right?
right? Yeah. So
Yeah, and they have a feel for what their audience likes,
mhm,
right? So I
yeah.
think that's another tip for people is, you know, you have to put yourself in spaces to get that level of information, right? To
Mhm.
get that confirmation and validation. And hello, Quisha. Thank you for being here, tuning in this morning. But sometimes you have to go to where the people are. You have
Mhm.
to take a piece and try some things and enter some competitions and branch out and not be afraid that something's not going to turn out. You're only going to know if you try.
Yeah.
You're only going
That's
to know
the
if
only
you
way.
try.
That is. You got to step out. But yeah, I think creating the art pieces is also therapeutic,
Yes.
and actually can be very spiritual
Mm-hmm.
in terms of what you're painting, or what I'm carving or throwing when it's pottery.
Yes.
So yeah, yeah.
It's me. I'm a doodler. I'm a doodler. I love my little adult coloring books, things
Yeah.
of that nature. It's definitely a very cathartic thing. You're going to, for me, it's when I can zone out on kind of a lot of things that are going on and give me time to start processing through some things, right? And if you're like me, that your brain is constantly going.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm creating, is the only time my brain stops and slows
Mm-hmm.
down,
Yeah.
right? And that's sometimes for me is when things come to me. When
Mm-hmm.
I'm creating something over here, that's when something else will come because now my brain is like, okay, I can just focus right here. I
Yeah.
don't have to be focused on the 5 million other things that are normally going through my brain at any given time,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think for me, it's always like, okay, when I'm in that space or that zone, because my creative is that I can pretty much duplicate any design I see.
Mm-hmm.
If I see it, I can pretty much duplicate it when I'm building out stuff. Um, so I love when I'm doing something or I'm generating images on AI or something, right?
Yeah.
And you get that one good prompt, and you like, oh, I, I did that because I look. One thing I'm not is shy
Yeah.
about pumping myself up.
Uh-huh.
I do something good, I'm going to tell me that I did that because you don't
That's
always hear from
good.
other people. So
Sometimes you got to be your best cheerleader.
yes, because
Mm-hmm.
I done generated some new images, and these weren't even generated for me. These were
Yeah.
generated for a client.
Uh-huh.
But baby, I was like, yes, you did that. Like, that gave me a whole idea for a whole new set of affirmation cards that
Uh-huh.
I'm going to do based around
Nice.
this some images that I've been creating, just designs. So
Yeah.
I said that to say to you guys out there, when you are going through things, right? Journaling, doodling, painting, any sort of artistic endeavor, dancing, singing,
Mm-hmm.
writing up your own little songs and things of that nature, and poetry, and all of those things can help you really process through and work through some things in your life.
Mm-hmm.
They can be used
Definitely.
as healing agents. We had a whole show about art therapy, right? Color therapy. Those kind of things really do work, and they are in use in people's practices
Mm-hmm.
because they work. So you can implement these things into your own life as a stress coping method,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Sometimes I think that the art can help you, as you described, um, calm the noise enough so that you can really hear your inner or higher whole self, you know? Because
Yes.
sometimes I think those messages are there, like they're coming through, but we're so enmeshed in the everyday, we can't hear it.
Hear it. Yes,
Can't hear it.
you have to be able to drown out the noise sometimes so you can get the message. I
Hmm.
100% agree with that.
Yep.
And sometimes that's what these artistic endeavors, journaling, whatever you want to do, can just
Hmm.
help you do. I just need to drown the noise out so I can get to the message. Because I'm a firm believer we have everything we need inside of us, to
Hmm.
heal our pains and things of that. And we have to be the ones to actually learn how to quiet the noise. And so I think that's a perfect way to say it. So as we wrap up today, Valerie, want to thank you for being here. But do you have a final message of, let's see, a message of empowerment for our beautiful Black women who are listening in? Um, do you have any kind of last message or words of encouragement?
I don't know. I have a wish. I have a wish that we could, that all of us could get to a place where we can realize how incredibly powerful and immense we are.
Yes.
And I just see so many of us believing in the smallness and insignificance of who we are. And it's the complete opposite.
Yes.
And I wish for that for all of us to see that
Me
in
too.
ourselves.
Yes, I love that because you're as large as you see yourself or as small as you see yourself because you're going to, it's that self-fulfilling prophecy. So
Mhm.
I tell people all the time, why do I want to be ordinary when I can be extraordinary every day?
Mhm.
Because I do not see myself as this little minute thing. I see the grandness of who I am. And we all have that. We
Mhm.
all have that. We just have to open our eyes and see it. And sometimes there's so many blinders that we've been put on us by
Yeah.
all of our experiences, our trauma, our pains, that they've told us that we're small. And so we
Mhm.
play small because that's what we've always heard. But now we're here to tell you you're not. You're big time. You can be, do, and see and hear, have all the things that you wish in life.
Mhm.
But you have to believe it first. You know, it's one of those you have to believe it first. So,
I
if you
think
want to
sometimes
connect
it's
with
easier for us to believe in others and
but why is that,
to
right? Why is
believe
it that
in
it's so
themselves.
much easier for us to believe somebody else is fabulous versus believing that we are fabulous as well?
Yeah. I think we got to have another show for that.
Definitely. Definitely, because we do have to go. It's 11:04, and I've been trying to do better on getting this show closed out on time because we've been here for an hour and a half. We've had hour and a half shows, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to let's get it, keep it tight. Valerie will be back. She'll definitely be back on the show. But
Thank you.
thank you for being here, Valerie. Like I
Thank
said,
you for having
this
me.
is my friend in real life, and we talk good, bad, ugly. We uplift each other. So if you do not have real people in your life, if you do not feel like you have a community of people who will ride with you and who will rock with you, you can head on over to our Facebook group, Wake Up Happy Sis. I'm trying to build that community where you can really build honest, true connections and have people who are going to be there for you, who will stand in the gap for you, who will tell you when you're wrong too, right? We're not just yes people. We're not just yes people here. But if you want to learn more about Valana Minerals, you want to connect with Valerie, head on over to valanaminerals.com. Get
Thank
you some of
you.
that vegan and all natural skincare products. Okay, she's got good makeup, beauty products over there. Try some things out. Make sure you come back and tell us how fabulous you were. Post up those pictures and tag her when you got your flawless makeup done with your Valana minerals. Like, do all the things because we have to support us. I say this all the time. We're the only ones who are going to save us, and we have to pour more money into our businesses and stop paying all these billion-dollar enterprises that don't care about us, that aren't even in our communities doing the work, right?
Yeah.
Focus on the people who are doing the work, who are in the communities, who may not have a name brand attached to them yet, but we're all major. So I want to thank y'all for coming, for tuning in today. It's been a wonderful day on the Wake Up Happy Sis show. We'll be back on Monday with another live show for you. I want you to have the day that you were meant to have because you absolutely have control of how you respond to everything that happens to you today. So get the day you deserve to have. And thank you for being here, Valerie.
Thank you.
And with that, we will see y'all Monday. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Wake Up Happy Sis